This is WVEC-TV, Channel 13.
Good evening, I'm Mike Lewis.
And I'm Alveda Ewell.
Roller coaster day in Richmond for the proposed state lottery.
Parents in Chesapeake come together out of concern for their children.
And two dogs who escaped death in Virginia Beach will get some rehabilitation.
And now, the latest news from across Hampton Roads with Mike Lewis, Alveda Ewell, Dr. Dwayne Harding, and Roger Cawthon. This is 13 News Tonight.
Good evening. We will probably see a tax hike this year, but we won't get the chance to decide on a state lottery.
That decision made today by our state lawmakers in Richmond. The lottery issue surfaced again today, and for a while, it looked like lawmakers were ready to let voters decide the issue. The Senate approved an amendment from Accomack Senator Bill Fears, who introduced it as an alternative to a hike in our state sales tax to pay for construction of new roads.
Ayes 21.
All it does is, in a democratic fashion, allow my constituents out there who are clamoring for the right to vote on this issue to have the right to vote on it. Thomas Jefferson would turn over in his grave if he didn't give them a right to vote on it.
Now, the Senate went along with Fears' proposal reviving the lottery issue. It rallied lottery supporters over in the House as well.
This bill doesn't pass a lottery. This bill simply allows the people of the Commonwealth to decide whether or not they want it. Who are we afraid of?
But the House voted down the lottery issue 60-39, and the Senate later reconsidered its original vote and killed the referendum because of a tie vote. But the House did approve more taxes for us today. It raised the sales tax by a penny, which includes a $30 income tax credit on food purchases.
What started as a regularly scheduled Indian River PTA meeting for open house tonight turned out to be an organizing session for parents concerned about their children's safety.
We're not directly blaming anybody, but what we are after doing is to make the schools safer for our kids that are being threatened on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis.
The parents are talking about a fight which broke out after a football game Friday night in the student parking lot. The attack left several students injured and one still hospitalized. Larry Sablotny says he and some friends were accosted as they tried to get into their car.
And so I proceeded to get out of the car. Someone came around from the other side, one that was in the gang, asked me what I planned on doing. That's his exact words were, "Hey, what do you think you're going to do?" Hit me in the back of the head with some object 4 or 5 times and pushed me down the car. Tried to slam the door on my legs, which were hanging out of the door. And I was able to move my legs and hit the door with the bottom of my feet. And I got back out of the car in time to hear someone jump over the top of the car, land on the hood, and kick in the windshield.
Sablotny and the two women received relatively minor injuries, but their friend Benjamin Philbrick was not so lucky. He has a concussion, a damaged retina, and bruised ribs, jaws, and kidneys, and remains in the hospital. Ben's mother, Elaine Clark, joined several other parents at the meeting in setting up a task force to determine what needs to be done to protect their children.
From here, I am going to the school board. I was not satisfied with what they discussed tonight. I will probably be out there in the morning. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get an appointment, but I'm going to do my best. From there, I am going to City Council just as soon as I can find out when they meet next. And I will be going there to discuss the problem within Chesapeake. And if I don't get results within a few days, I plan to go on from there. If I have to go to Richmond, I'm going to go to Richmond.
And school principal Herbert Phillips says one person was arrested today in connection with Friday's incident, and petitions are out for 4 juveniles. Meanwhile, a meeting was held today between the 5 Chesapeake High School principals and school superintendent as well as police to see what can be done to keep something like this from happening in the future.
And elsewhere tonight, Chesapeake police are looking for a gunman who shot and killed a Norfolk man earlier tonight. Police say the shooting happened at the corner of McDonald and Indian River Road shortly before 5. The driver of a car with Georgia license plates was arguing with Charlie David Chapman, a resident of the Berkeley section of Norfolk. Eyewitnesses say the driver got out of the car and fired at least 6 shots at Chapman point blank. The gunman got away. Chapman was airlifted to Norfolk General Hospital, where he later died. Police say the driver of that car is described as a black male about 30 to 35 years old, 5 feet 7 inches tall, and around 160 pounds.
About 40 parents and daycare providers of children took their concerns to Virginia Beach Council tonight. They're hoping the city would change its laws regarding daycare for children in private homes. But Beach Council decided to only clarify its definition of what home daycare is. It told parents and providers who turned out tonight it would delay making a decision for 45 days. Now that's until a study of all the child care services in the city could be reviewed. Despite the delay, members of the Virginia Beach Child Care Association say they're optimistic.
And they finally are looking at this issue that we must do this work in our home, this service. Maybe they will come back and comply with the state standards on family daycare. That would be our ultimate goal for them to accept.
And in other action tonight, members decided to also delay a vote on paying the way for a sand replenishment at Sandbridge. Residents are asking the city to pay about $2.5 million to truck in sand.
The head of NASA is saying that he is expecting lawsuits because the space agency will not be able to deliver on its promises. James Fletcher says the flight schedule for the shuttle will be released this week, but there won't be much room for commercial satellite companies. Velma Scaife talked with the new director today of the shuttle program, who was saying that 1988 will be the year to regain respect.
Our major thrust today is first and foremost is to keep the space shuttle return to flight on track.
Getting back on track means successfully launching a space shuttle in 1988. This after the Challenger exploded in January, killing 7 astronauts. A New York Times report claims that in 1981, NASA had a key part of a redesign of the booster seals that caused the shuttle to explode. But Admiral Truly had another explanation.
It was decided to order the next set of case hardware with enough metal on it so that if it was decided to go to a design, which we're now considering very seriously, if it was desired to go to such a design, we would have enough metal to do the machining.
Truly was on 2 shuttle flights. Today, traveling in space is behind him. He's instead helping to repair NASA's image. First and foremost, though, is getting congressional approval of an orbiter to replace the Challenger. Then it's on to the 6 to 7 shuttle flights scheduled for 1988. Velma Scaife, 13 News, Hampton.
Evangelist Pat Robertson of Virginia Beach is stepping down as host of the 700 Club. His decision to resign came this morning in Detroit before he was to speak at a breakfast meeting. Robertson won't be leaving the show completely, though. He will appear from time to time as a commentator on world events. Just last week, Robertson said he'll run for the Republican nomination for president if he gets enough public support. Now, he's hoping 3 million registered voters sign a petition as a show of support.
Well, a K9 update for you tonight. Portia and Smokey are on the road to rehabilitation. The 2 dogs were released from death row at the Virginia Beach Pound today. The dogs are Rottweilers. They look like Dobermans, and a judge had sentenced them to die a few weeks ago for being a public nuisance. It seems they couldn't stay in their own backyards. Their owner paid $500 in fees and fines to keep them alive, and today another judge set the mother and pups free with some restrictions.
I'm not allowed to have the dogs back. I have to pay storage on them, and I have to sell them. So after all this, they'll get a good home. It's cost me a lot of money, and I probably will have to move from the city.
And the city won't press charges against the owner, but he won't get to keep the dogs. The judge saying that he'll have to be, or the dogs will have to be retrained and then sold to breeders.
And again, it seems like everybody's happy in this case. We hope so. Well, coming up on 13 News tonight, President Reagan at the United Nations.
And we'll have an update for you on a protest at the Jewish Community Center.
People having the ball, laughing and clapping, watching it happen on the HBO Knockout Fall.
The HBO Knockout Fall is here with blockbuster movies like Rambo: First Blood Part 2, Jagged Edge, and Cocoon. HBO exclusives too, like Comedy with Rodney and Robin. So catch it all
on the HBO Knockout Fall.
To get special savings on HBO installation, call 1-800-HBO-FALL today.
At Pizza Hut, we make our pan pizza with dough made fresh every day, with pure mozzarella cheese and only the finest toppings. So when you've got to have a hot, delicious pizza, we modestly suggest you treat yourself to one of ours. Pizza Hut Pan Pizza.
My folks used to buy appliances at the very big department store, but now they buy appliances at Circuit City. My mom says they have lots more brands. And my dad said Circuit City's prices are a lot better. We even got to take everything home the same day. Hey, maybe the money my folks saved, they can buy me this nice little truck.
Circuit City, the intelligent choice.
They know your deepest, darkest secrets, or at least they think they do. And they'll tell anybody who will listen. On the next Oprah Winfrey Show, meet the men and women of your neighborhood and office who drive you crazy with their endless stream of gossip. What makes certain people just delight in every detail of another person's life, and why can't they keep their mouths shut? Find out from the gossips on the next Oprah Winfrey Show.
Tuesday morning at 9 on WVEC-TV.
President Reagan went to the United Nations this morning, and he had a lot to say about the Soviet Union. The president told the members of the General Assembly there that while progress is being made on arms control, relations between both countries, the United States and the Soviet Union, are clouded right now, mainly because of the arrest of American journalist Nicholas Danilov in Moscow.
The Soviet Union bears the responsibility for the consequences of its action. Misusing the United Nations for purposes of espionage does a grave disservice to this organization. The world expects better.
On arms control, the president was more upbeat today. He called the latest Soviet offer of less drastic cuts on some nuclear weapons unacceptable, but represents a serious effort on their part. The Soviets are now considering the latest U.S. offer. The president's speech received a round of applause from most members at the United Nations, but there was no applause or comment from the Soviet foreign minister. The Soviet news agency TASS was critical on all fronts today. And tonight, a high-ranking Soviet official said American journalist Nicholas Danilov could be free soon under the right circumstances. Without saying what those circumstances are, the deputy foreign minister says it's up to the United States in resolving the case.
And also at the UN today, there was a brief meeting between Soviet Foreign Minister Shevardnadze and Israeli Prime Minister Shimon Peres. Both say they discussed normalizing relations between their two countries. The Soviets broke ties with Israel after the 1967 Middle East War, and today's meeting was the first formal get-together between the two officials. In southern Lebanon, Israeli troops have massed along the border, poised to move in if necessary. Muslim guerrillas have been attacking an Israeli-backed militia in South Lebanon, and a government spokesman says the extra troops are there as a show of peace.
Back here at home, Norfolk's religious community is sponsoring a rally Wednesday at the Jewish Community Center. The rally comes after a protest over the Holocaust exhibit at that center. The protesters claim the massacre of 6 million Jews by the Nazis never happened. The Norfolk Clergy Association called a news conference today to express their concern over the protest.
As a Christian, I am appalled and I am disgusted that such is done in the name of Christ, because it is as far from the Spirit of Christ as anything that I know.
Wednesday's community rally will feature survivors of the concentration camps, and organizers say it will attempt to show the religious community's concern over the claim that the Holocaust was a hoax.
Well, coming up a little later, Jim Kincaid on the change of seasons.
And after the break tonight, Dr. Harding will be along and have the forecast on the first day of fall.
At last, an ultra-lightweight cream that firms like a heavyweight. Estee Lauder Skin Perfecting Cream with Firmex. Scientific tests show it can make your skin measurably more elastic, measurably firmer, measurably smoother in just 2 weeks. And it's so lightweight, you'll hardly feel it on.
Until you see how perfectly it works.
Estee Lauder Skin Perfecting Cream, now at all Miller and Road stores.
Can you get big year-end savings on a 1987 family car? Your Nissan dealer says yes. Yes. With great deals on America's best-selling import, the Sentra, starting at $60.99. Yes. With the 1987 Maxima, the best-selling luxury import, for thousands less than you'd expect. Yes. Yes. With the all-new 1987 Stanza, all you have to do is ask, and your Nissan dealer says yes. Yes. But don't wait. Get big savings at your Tidewater area Nissan dealer today.
Experience the most luscious sunrise in the world. Introducing Hardee's new Canadian Sunrise Biscuit. Savor the tastes of real Canadian bacon, cheese, farm-fresh egg, and hickory smoked bacon on Hardee's made-from-scratch Rise and Shine Biscuit. For a taste so special, it will brighten your whole day. Hardee's! Hardee's new Canadian Sunrise Biscuit.
Confessions of a Love Connection Couple.
I needed to go on Love Connection like I needed a hole in my head.
Chuck let him do most of the talking.
She called me a playboy.
He had it pretty easy with the women.
Now, I'm not a playboy.
But I guess I was just one of the pack.
You know, this is one of the best things that ever happened to me.
In my case, it turned out very well.
Thanks, Love Connection.
They have no secrets on Love Connection. Weekdays at 10:30 on WVEC-TV.
Well, good morning and happy fall, almost, right?
Just a couple more hours, pretty soon.
A major, what is this?
Everything changes.
A major policy change in weather forecasting here at
No.
13 News? Or?
No, why?
Well, I see you have this morning titles there for your forecast.
I didn't want you to be confused. Let me show you what he's talking about. I had this for tomorrow, but I changed it to this morning so Mike won't be confused. Autumnal equinox, that's the astronomical start of fall. It's when the sun is over the equator, is at 2:59. That's just a little over a couple of hours from now, Mike. That's the official start of fall, as you put it. Now, what we have meteorologically is a line of clouds from Michigan down to the Baja of California. Way down here in the tip. That's a hurricane. That's Newton by name. It's moving up to the northwest. That'll swing across Mexico and bring a lot of heavy rain to New Mexico and Arizona. Farther to the north, we have a lot of severe weather. There were tornadoes in Texas. There were very large hail in Nebraska. In fact, some of them were the size of baseballs. Did quite a bit of damage there. In Omaha, the winds blew cars off the roads. They had nasty weather out there, and that nasty weather continues to be in parts of Missouri and in Illinois. There's a real strong weather right now. The red and the yellow are the very powerful thunderstorms. Those are not going to bother us, but they're going to move off in our direction a little bit in the next couple of days, and so we'll have some spotty thunderstorms on Wednesday evening and then perhaps on Thursday. In the meantime, very warm air will come up in our area and stay here for a couple of days. Very warm and very humid, so temperatures tomorrow will be close to 90 degrees. We had highs today in the 70s, even some 60s in northern Michigan and up into Maryland, so it's going to be very, very warm. That cold front will come down and push up against the warm air and bring a risk of thunderstorms just tomorrow, just isolated thunderstorms. But on Wednesday afternoon, we'll have some scattered thunderstorms, most of them in the northern part of the state, maybe a leftover thunderstorm on Thursday, but the warm air is still going to stay with us. That cold air is not going to come through, so it's still going to be warm all next week, or all this week, rather. Tomorrow will be warm and humid, just an isolated thunderstorm, so isolated I didn't even bother to put it in the forecast for tomorrow. But because of the cloudy sky, or because of the clear skies rather, and because of the high humidity, we're going to have some fog tonight. And some of it could be kind of dense, especially in North Carolina. So if you do get up early in the morning, be a little bit careful because you'll probably be sleepy in the first place. I'll be back with the forecast in just a moment.
At Pizza Hut, we make our pan pizza with dough made fresh every day, with pure mozzarella cheese and only the finest toppings. So when you've got to have a hot, delicious pizza, we modestly suggest you treat yourself to one of ours. Pizza Hut Pan Pizza.
High tides tomorrow, 1:05 in the morning. That's just a few minutes. 1:31 in the afternoon. Low tide at 6:53 and 7:01. Sunrise at 6:53. The sun will set at 7:01. High tide in Norfolk today was 76 degrees, just below normal, 79. Record high was 97, set back in 1980. Right now we have 64 degrees in Norfolk, 62 in Newport News. The humidity is about as high as it's going to get. The temperature is about as low as it's going to get. We're going to get some fog, and it could be dense. The winds are now out of the south at 6 miles per hour. They're quite light throughout the area. Tonight will be mild with fog, dense in some places. Temperature will be steady. Winds out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then tomorrow it'll be summery, warm, humid, and breezy. Maybe small craft advisories tomorrow. High of 85 to 90 degrees. Tomorrow night, mild again, hazy, maybe some fog. A low of 65 to 70. Then on Wednesday, partly sunny, hazy, a chance of an afternoon or evening thunderstorm, high of 85. And then on Thursday and Friday, still quite warm, perhaps a shower on Thursday, but it's still going to be above normal the next couple of days.
What's that, fog and being sleepy in the morning?
Yeah, a little bit.
Dangerous combination, right? Well, the magic numbers in baseball divisional races next on Sports with Scott Cash.
What's this? Now I can get rid of it.
Hey, you found it. What are you doing?
Why?
Honey, how could you throw it out? I had it on when we met. I wore it all through the softball championships.
Honey, it's time to say goodbye. Look, it's falling apart. Remember the bloody nose you couldn't get out?
But we can save it.
It's been cooking under the water heater.
Do it in Tide.
No, Tide isn't doing anything to this.
Empty. Here. And it's new tough cleaning Tide.
Oh, old Tide, new Tide, no way.
Well, if it's gotta go, you can at least wait till I leave. Goodbye.
Okay, sweet baby, we'll try.
New Tide can do it. It can even get out this set-in blood stain. The directions on the box tell how. Now some of your toughest set-in stains come clean. On dirt and stains that sit, New Tide won't quit.
It's actually clean. New Tide is even better than old Tide. For you.
What's this?
Just a little something I picked up.
It takes a Tide to beat a Tide. Even on dirt and stains that sit, New Tide just won't quit.
Have you always dreamed about owning a Nissan 300ZX? Well, right now your Nissan dealer says yes. With year-end savings on all sports cars. To make room for our new models, we're saying yes. With sensational deals on Pulsars, 200SXs, and 300ZXs. Yes. There will never be a better time to buy a Nissan sports car. All you have to do is ask, and your Nissan dealer says yes. But don't wait. Get big savings at your Tidewater area Nissan dealer today.
I've got a feeling we're going to hear a lot of corks popping at the end of the week.
Yeah, several teams could clinch in Major League Baseball by the end of the week, so we could have some champagne all over the place. The divisional playoffs just about figured out by now, maybe by the end of the week. For instance, in Houston, the magic number is at 4. They lost to the Dodgers tonight, 9-2. A 6-run fourth inning for the Dodgers. Virginia Tech, he attended Virginia Tech. Franklin Stubbs knocks in the 6th run. He also added his 22nd home run later in the game. And Pedro Guerrero, oh, what could have been if the Dodgers had him all year. He hit his 2nd home run of the season tonight. Fernando Valenzuela won his 20th game, the first one in the National League. So the Dodgers win. Montreal beat Chicago. Gooden won his 16th tonight. Philadelphia beat Pittsburgh. San Francisco over Cincinnati. Atlanta a winner. And I think the autumnal equinox has affected Earl Weaver. This is yesterday. He's retiring, so this could be the last time we see him get kicked out of a game for the 98th time. He's really mad at his umpire, or else he has starch in his shorts. But then again, let's go to the game in California tonight. To the Angels and Don Sutton looking for his 15th win, and Mel Hall makes it a little bit tough. The Angels came in with a magic number at 5. They trailed 3-0, but with a score 3-1, 2 outs, 2 on in the 7th inning. Did you get all that? Bobby Grich gets all this. A home run, a 3-run shot, and the Angels win it 4-3. Other games, Detroit, Morris wins his 19th. Yankees beat Baltimore. Minnesota over Kansas City. California's magic number is now at 4. Texas leads Seattle, and Oakland leads Chicago. Thanks to his trusty pit crew, Rusty Wallace won the Goodies 500 race at Martinsville yesterday. Jeff Bodine seemed to have things in control, leading for almost half the race. But with 24 laps to go, his teammate spun out of control, drawing a caution flag. Wallace beat Bodine out of the pits and held the lead to finish the race. His 2nd win of the season, both on tough short tracks. Well, what's next?
Got to get that 3rd one. On a super speedway, Charlotte, the 500's next for me, hopefully.
Central Division football at its best tonight. Hard-hitting and low-scoring until the 4th quarter. The Bears over the Packers tonight, 25-12. The Pack scoring first. Randy Wright to Phil Epps, and a big night for Al Del Greco. If you watched, you noticed he kicked 4 field goals. This one made it 3-0, but the Bears come back. And here's Walter Payton going over for the touchdown, 10-3. Into the 4th quarter, the Pack trailing by 1, 13-12. Here's a big play. In the end zone, I don't know about this call. They said he was in the grasp of what, I don't know, but it turned out to be a safety. Made it 15-12, and then the Bears score again. Steve Fuller to Phil Ortego in for the score, and it's a 25-12 final. Chicago wins it. AP Top 10 just came out tonight. Oklahoma is number 1 again. They will play Miami on Saturday. A big game there. Should be great. Alabama, Nebraska, and Michigan round out the top 5, and then the bottom half of that, you've got Washington. Penn State comes in. They dropped 2 this week to number 7. Auburn, Arkansas, and Arizona. So a big week for the A's in the bottom half. Auburn, Arizona, and Arkansas. Yeah.
Okay, Jim has a note next.
No, I can't. Not tonight. I'm busy. Something elegant and sexy and very exclusive. It's hot and cool. Glamorous and playful. sizzles. It excites. Of course you're the only one, darling. Tomorrow night? No, I can't. I'd love to, but I already have plans. I'm a very busy woman, you know.
If you're a very busy woman, Bloomingdale's by Mail has your number. It's 1-800-441-9900. Call now to receive a full season of Bloomingdale's by Mail catalogs for just $3. These exclusive catalogs feature exciting fall fashions and accessories, as only Bloomingdale's by Mail can deliver them. 1-800-441-9900. Call now and we'll be sure to include our giant 1986 Christmas catalog. It's packed with festive fashions, furnishings, and gift ideas. And as a special bonus, you'll also receive a $3 Bloomingdale's by Mail gift certificate that can be applied towards the purchase of anything in our catalogs. So call 1-800-441-9900 and say charge it to your major credit card. All it takes is $3 and a free phone call to enter the exclusive world of Bloomingdale's by Mail. So call now, 1-800-441-9900. That's 1-800-441-9900.
And finally tonight, something significant is about to happen.
And when it happens, you might not notice, but Jim Kincaid certainly will. Here's tonight's note.
In case you haven't been keeping track, we've just about used up summer. In the morning at a minute before 3, it will become autumn. The autumnal equinox will take place at that moment. It may be hard to step outside into the weather and believe that it's autumn, but it is. The calendar and the astronomers say so, and that's that. Somehow, though, I prefer to learn about autumn in the old way, on the farm at Elam. There's an edible mushroom that grows in the woods of Elam in great abundance in the summer, but it always quits before autumn. This weekend, I found about 20 of them, where I would usually expect to find several hundred, and those 20 were a little on the dry side. I saw some woolly bear caterpillars, too, but I never can remember what it means, the width of the woolly bear stripes. The way I figure it, since my woolly bears don't have any stripes this year, or they're just one solid stripe all the way from one end to the other end, we're in for a very mild or a particularly severe winter. Another sure sign of autumn at Elam is the bareness of the tobacco fields. They've been harvested. Some of my neighbors raise tobacco, and I've watched them do it and wondered why anybody would work that hard on something that's getting to be less socially acceptable by the day. And then there's the surest sign of all that autumn's here and winter's on the way. The chimney sweeps in the 3 chimneys of our old farmhouse will be gone one morning soon, and we'll need a fire in the fireplaces that very night. Calendars are okay and pretty reliable on the whole, but I don't think I'd miss a calendar like I'll miss those little birds.
Well, this guy over here has his own calendar. He says autumn started when?
Well, last week
after
sometime?
Labor Day.
Or, that's right. I think I'm going to get used to him winter, though.
Well, we'll stick with the official start, folks. About an hour and a half or so, right?
Exactly.
That's our report tonight.
Well, Nightline's next with Dr. Tim Johnson. He'll talk about football injuries and how to prevent them. From all of us here at WVEC and 13 News. Good night.